Yo, just a quick little quick stop out here today. Had to clean the Airbnb this morning, afternoon, so don't have much time. We're getting ready for a very cold weekend, I think, like most people in the country. And so I just want to come out and just keep making a little bit of progress, but I'll be a little bit disappointed not to make it out this weekend. So I figure might as well take advantage of not sub 10-degree weather, though it is not warm. Got a lot of log rounds that I need to prep for the foundation, so I'm just going to kind of keep trying to move with that. I should probably do a little layout of the log so I can get the heights closer to correct, because I'm using the logs to level out the build site. So there will be taller ones on the bottom side of the hill and shorter ones on the top, but I don't know any of the exact measurements. Maybe I'll just get a couple of like smaller, less wide, less big diameter logs to get the heights of everything. That might work. Because if I'm imagining everything correctly, it's like if two things are level, and if A and B are level, and A and C are level, then C and B should be level, and so forth and so on. I think I'm probably over complicating this in my mind, but I might not be. I'm not actually sure. So I think it'll help to actually have some like visual assistance. But because the front of the cabin, I'm going to try to use like the most big, robust stumps that I have for the front of the cabin, because they'll look the beefiest. But I probably don't need that much. I don't need all of the foundation piers to be really beefy. And then I don't know. If I could bring materials out here more easily, I wouldn't use stumps for the foundation. I would just use like cinder blocks or paver stone kind of things, some kind of concrete. Getting stuff out here in like heavy material in mass is just going to be brutal. So I'm already going to have to do that with some sheathing for the floor, the subfloor, and the underside of the subfloor system. So I'm basically going to build like a sandwiched floor, like a sheathing on the bottom, touching the foundation, build the floor system on top of that, fill that with insulation, subfloor thick, good, like 3.25 inch subfloor over the top, sandwiching the insulation layer in, and then I'm going to do the sill plates on top of that. So anyway, yeah, it's a pain to bring stuff in here. I don't want to have to carry. I'm already thinking I'm going to have to bring out like 20 or so pieces of 4x8 sheathing, and that just is going to be a nightmare. I can probably do one at a time. and even that's, I mean, it's just going to be brutal. If I can come up with um, some way of like towing stuff up the hill, that might be good, but I'm not optimistic about that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's get the draw knife and just shave some of these stumps. Just thinking, I don't even really need to use like small logs to do the foundation layout. I really need, just medium sticks that I can carve like a point into, so I can at least get it, a couple inches in the ground, hammer it a couple inches in the ground, and I can use those to substitute for the stumps or the log rounds that I'll be putting in. But I can get the height of all of those. I can get them all level to each other, so I can get the heights of everything perfectly laid out, and then I can just do a one-for-one, measure the stake, cut the log round to that same height, replace the stake with the log round level, and maybe that's the way to go. Maybe, but maybe not. Anyway, I'll try to start setting aside 20 or 30 20 or 30 sticks that are of appropriate diameter and length. I should have plenty of those. noticing, just with the couple of logs that I've burned so far, that I'm not going to be able to use the grinder. I can use the grinder, but then I have to go back over and sand it to take out the grinder marks, because that is obscuring the grain of the wood and just kind of overall muddying it up, making it look less attractive. So need to add a sanding step in. What sort of makes me nervous about using log rounds for the foundation is not the perimeter rounds, but I'm going to need a number of them in supporting the middle of the floor system, and if those rot, I'm not going to be able to keep an eye on them. And then hey Robin, and then swapping them out, like jacking up from the middle of the cabin just isn't a good idea. So really, I think I just need to figure out some kind of a system to get heavy materials in here. My trail's not really wide enough or appropriate for an ATV or any kind of little utility vehicle. I don't know. Our other house is like up over this hill and up a there's a steep hillside up, pretty rocky on our home side, and then this is relatively walkable. It's steep, but it's not like vertically steep. So maybe I could do some kind of like a dumb waiter, like some kind of a hoist at the top of the hill, so that I could load stuff up from my house side, hoist it up to the top of the hill, and then just like kind of slide stuff down maybe. It sucks to debark stumps, somehow even more than the big logs, because big logs, you can sit on them and then they're pretty still. But with a little log like this, I don't have nearly as much control over it, so it just keeps wiggling. So next time I find a log... Hello? So next time I find a log that is a good candidate for a bunch of my rounds, I will probably just debark it whole and then section it up after the fact. Oh man, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that like 30 to 40,000 dead in Iran, 300,000 wounded. I mean, it's just so sad, so sickening. I hope they have peace and freedom soon. I haven't done much research into what kind of unsupported spans different diameters of pine can support or can withstand. Like, do you need support every 4 feet or every 6 feet or every 8 feet or 12 feet? Or, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it depends on how the diameter of the particular thing, but I got to do a little bit of research. What am I listening to? Like Iranian music all of a sudden? Yeah, look at what a pain this is. You know, this sucks so much. I would rather just be stripping a big log. I'm also curious. This guy's got to stop putting on Iranian music in the middle of his news coverage. It's crazy. I'd like to hear your news, but I do not want to hear Iranian music. where can we put this so that I have a little bit more stability? I don't really have any good place. Trying to get I wonder if it's worth just testing burning the bark off. I think we should try it. I don't really see how it could work very well. But I am curious. So I got this little stump with it's still covered in, mostly covered in bark. Well, this particular one is letting go. It's weird that like the rogue states in our world, or failed rogue, like there's like a belligerent, there are belligerent countries that they always team up. Which I guess makes sense if you're locked out of the global framework. let's give this a whirl. Yeah, it's definitely not the right way of getting bark off. Still have to. I mean, I could try burning it longer, and eventually it would fall off. But I don't think it's the right. All right, I'm cold. As usual, this thing cannot keep track of me. Let's try to maybe we'll try a firmware update this weekend. See if that fixes this camera at all.